Hi, this is Pam, Flower Patch Farmhouse, and today we're going to pot up some African violet babies that I started. I have an entire post on how I start African violets or propagate them from leaf cuttings, and today we're going to pot up a couple of the successful ones. You will from time to time have those that fail. I don't have very many that fail, but they can. So I had one question on that post. If you want to go back and watch that video, go right ahead. I'll put a link for it here, up here, and in the description box below. But the question was, how long does it take for the African violet to put out roots or produce babies? And I can't tell you a time frame. All kinds of circumstances can affect it. Now, for example, these two different African violet baby starts were a leaf or two leaves from the same plant. This one has already put out two good-sized babies on it, and here's the mother leaf. And this one has barely, I didn't think it was going to put out babies. The leaf was there forever and ever, and it just now put up two babies. And it probably was a good 3 months later than this one. So there's no rhyme or reason as to when they will start. So just be patient. As long as your leaf is alive and thriving, just let it do its thing. I also tried a new method. Someone had posted that they start in pure perlite with water. And I tried that with these. This one is a semi-miniature. It hasn't put up any babies yet, but I can tell it has rooted. And then this little one down here, which has several babies, that one is a trailing violet that I have, and they like to stay in small pots, and I like those because I can fit a lot of them on my windowsill. And the trailing violets bloom like non-stop. They just do not stop blooming. And I started them in the perlite. Now I'm going to pot them up into soil and see if that stunts them any, or whatever. The one that's rooted, that is not showing babies, I'll go ahead and pot that one too. Do that. So I'm going to point the camera down at my table so you can see what I'm doing better, and I will pot them on. So here's my two starts, and I'm going to put them in smaller pots because these babies are small, and these ones are really small. So I'm going to go ahead and pot them up, and these I'm going to put in very tiny little pots because that is what they prefer. And get those going. Now, I don't use an African violet potting mix. I just use a good potting mix. This one is E.B. Stone's Edna's Best. It's an organic. I mix it with maybe a third more perlite and a touch of vermiculite. I don't always use the vermiculite. I just have it on hand, so I mix that in too. So here is all my pots ready to roll. And I'm going to start with this bigger one. And I'm just going to use this. This is actually a skewer, a bamboo skewer that I had in a plant for helping it to stand up straight. And you notice the roots are not very deep. So I'm going to carefully break this apart. Could actually swish it in some water to kind of break it apart. And because there's definitely two different little plants here. So there, I've got the one. Actually, there's two there. Huh. There was more than I thought. So there's that. I'm going to push the roots down in there. I just made a little hole with my finger. And then what I'm going to do is get a bottom, and I'm just going to put this in here and put some water so it can absorb it, because that potting soil was not quite damp enough, but it'll absorb up in it just fine. And so I'm going to take the second one. That one kind of broke off, but that's okay. And you can reuse some of this here if you want. And I'm just going to make a little divot down into the soil and firm it down in there. Set it there to absorb water. Okay, that leaf and that leaf can go off. Now this one, I wonder if that would put up another baby if I put it back in a pot. Wouldn't hurt to try, huh? Okay, so here's the next one. This one is the larger of the three. And put it in there. It didn't, the roots were not as big on that one, or else it got torn off a little bit. But now we're going to let that absorb some water too. So now I'm going to go ahead and get another little pot. I'm just going to scoop the soil into my pots. It's to the left of the camera, and I'm not going to right to the tub that I've mixed it, the big plastic tub you've seen me in previous videos, and these two as well. Now I probably need to get more pots because there's 2 babies in each of these, so I need 4 of those. And let's go ahead and put it, this one says lavender. Oh, my lavender one. I lost it, so I'm really thrilled that that's what this one is. I was a bad plant parent this winter and somehow was neglectful of many of my African violets, and I lost quite a few. And it was all my own fault. Just too busy and not paying attention to my plants. Okay, so now we're going to dig up this one. To put those in one. So here I'm going to do these little ones. Now this one here, the darker leaf, one is the semi-miniature. I'm just going to dig it out, and look at it. It's got some pretty nice roots on there. Oh, there's a baby coming. Very teeny tiny. So I'll be very, very gentle putting it in the soil. Let that baby come on up. Now some say to cut the leaf in half, and that kind of forces it more, but I don't know if that's true. But it wouldn't hurt to give it a try. Okay, now these are a bunch of trailing violets. Okay, that one, is there more than one on there? Maybe that's just the leaves spread all over. And I'm going to put that down in here. I'm just going to leave all that perlite that's stuck on there on it. I'm not going to worry about pulling that off. And I have one more. Okay, here's another little tiny pot. And that seems to be one plant. Okay, so that was just 2 little babies in there. Okay, so now I have them all potted up and ready to grow on. Like I said, I will put these all in some water to wick it up, and they will all go onto my plant rack that is in my house. Now it's been a few days since I potted these up, these African violet starts, and as you can see, they're just taking off. They're loving the extra room, and I can tell they're already filling in quickly. And before I know it, I'll be enjoying their beautiful lavender blooms. And that is how I pot up my African violet starts from cuttings. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you could please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and share with your friends. I would really enjoy that. I would really appreciate that.